Of all my many cameras, my twin lens reflex cameras are probably my favorite. There's just something so nostalgic about a camera with two lenses, and of course the way they render images always reminds me of the great photographers I admire. Diane Arbus, Vivian Maier, Lee Miller, Robert Dosneau, Van Ho. I'm certainly no Lee Miller and don't shoot pictures in war zones, but occasionally I shoot street pictures in everyday candid situations like Vivian Maier, and for those scenes, TLRs are just amazing. I have several TLRs, and of those the Rolleicord is the one that I have used the most. Before the pandemic, it was actually my second most used camera because it was my main camera alongside my Leica. I bought it in 2014 and I shot about 170 rolls with it by now. The cool thing about it is that it's much cheaper than the Rolleiflex, but the image quality is very good too, especially if you stop down. Wide open, the Xenar lens is not quite as sharp as the Xenotar and planar lenses of the Rolleiflexes, but not all of the Rolleiflexes have these either. Some of them have Xenar lenses too, and then with those models, the only difference is the crank of the Rolleiflex. It's mainly a handling difference, and I actually prefer the dial in a way, because it makes the camera much less heavy. It's a lot less heavy than a Rolleiflex and really an awful lot lighter than my Mamiya C220 because that's a real beast. The advantage of that is that you can take it also as a second camera. Like I was combining it with the Leica very often. If I'm taking the Mamiya, I'm often not even taking a small camera, only a GoPro most of the time because I just can't be bothered to carry more. With the Rollei, I don't really have that problem. I can just take any other camera, even my heavy Lumix full frame camera. I'm not gonna be worried about that because it's simply not that heavy as a camera. And the image quality is amazing stop down. So it is a really good option, especially if you're shooting street. So it's really very common that I'm taking another camera too when I'm with my Rolleicord. When I went to San Sebastian in December 2023 for the afternoon, I was actually shooting video with my little Canon EOS M2, the original from 2012. It's a small camera, so it doesn't take up much space and it's not very heavy, so that's really cool. San Sebastian is about 45 minutes on a train from here. In this case, I wasn't really taking a train, I was taking a subway. They call it topo here, which literally translated means mole. So it's part way underground, but not all of it. Just before I went on this particular photo walk, I discovered that I could stabilize the footage of my Canon EOS M with gyroflow if I mount a GoPro on top, and I was totally obsessed. The combination was a true winner. I got really beautiful footage out of the EOS M, and I could still shoot medium format, which is something I very much enjoy. At this point, I was a little out of practice because I hadn't shot the Rolleicord much since the pandemic started. So I even had an unintentional double exposure in there because I forgot to set the single exposure lock on the camera. Oops. I've had this camera for such a long time and I still make that mistake. The shot with the dog turned out beautifully. The dog is a bit small when seen on a screen, but printed large, it's a lovely picture with beautiful light and a nice detail. And I guess that's what medium format is about anyway, printing it large, because otherwise why would you shoot such large negatives? During the years when I was shooting whole months just with this camera, I was much better at capturing people in motion with it. It can be a bit hard to focus, so there is some shake in this, which is not really visible on small screens, but it is there, believe me. So I consider this one a bit of a failure because it's not quite enough shake to seem intentional. With this man and his dog, the footage turned out better than the photo because I had stopped down the lens quite a bit and there wasn't much background separation in the end. I guess I was maybe paying too much attention to the dog, so I didn't really notice the people in the background. The last shot was by far my favorite. The leading lines, the shadow of the streetlight, the pleasing balance of light and dark. I actually positioned myself there and waited for the right subject to pass through the frame. And in this case, I didn't want anyone seen from the front because this wasn't meant to be street photography, but an urban landscape picture where the person is secondary. Some people would consider this street photography too, and you will see it tagged like this on social media if someone were to post a picture like that. Certainly not me. But if you're very obsessed with definitions, then it's actually not street photography but an urban landscape. And of course I know this because I have been lectured about this in Facebook groups. After finishing my roll, I walked around a bit more. We actually used to live in San Sebastian and I wanted to capture some footage from some places that I enjoyed there to use in other videos perhaps. It was cold that day, but the weather was beautiful, and on days like these, the city can almost make you forget how annoying it gets during tourist season. So I'm actually glad that we don't live there anymore. Our town now is much more down to earth, to be honest. Whenever I look at the pictures that I take with the Rolleicord, I want to use it more. It's just such a nice camera and the pictures always turn out great. The lens is really nice, so that really helps. And I feel like I want to use it more, perhaps. Lately, I haven't been shooting it much because for what I'm shooting right now, other cameras are maybe the better choice. If I go into the forest, which I have been doing a lot over the last few years, ever since the pandemic started, I actually prefer to use my Mamiya, and it's just because it has bellows. You can get a lot closer with it, and the Rollei just has a focusing distance of maybe a meter, and then that's that. You can use close-up lenses, but it's not the same as bellows, so that's the advantage of the Mamiya. Also, when I'm going to the forest, sometimes I also want something that is not quite as sharp either. So if I want sharp, I will go with the Mamiya, and if I want the opposite, I will go with one of my plastic cameras. For example, my Diana or my Brownie. Those give very atmospheric pictures too, and they're quite different in quality and feel of, for example, the Mamiya or the Rolleicord. So wide open, the Mamiya is sharper, and in the forest that's an advantage, and the bellows also help. And then the Rollei is, well, it's nice in the forest too, but not quite as nice. And that was the reason why I haven't been shooting it so much. I do want to shoot it more though, because I really enjoy it and I miss shooting it. So maybe I should make a project where I actually shoot it more. I'm thinking in June perhaps I could spend a month shooting with the Rollei. That would be a nice thing to do. But I probably won't be taking it to the forest then. Maybe I'll be shooting more street or urban landscapes then too. So that's something to think about. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you think that you're subscribed already, then please check, because actually this is a rather new channel. I split my channels. I used to have my photography videos on my main channel, but now I've started a photography channel. And since I'm doing these videos with the collab function, you might be seeing it, although you're not subscribed to this channel. And you have much better chances of seeing these kinds of videos again if you subscribe. Although that doesn't guarantee anything either. But it really helps out my channel, so I would really appreciate it. You can also support this channel on Ko-fi, where you can get early access to my videos or download the music in them. There are also behind the scenes blog posts if you're into that sort of thing, and it's a great way of supporting me. Another great way of supporting me is to buy my music on Bandcamp, which seems a little out of character for a photography channel, but all the music you heard was actually my own, and if you enjoyed it, then that's actually a great way of supporting me as well. But of course, you can also just watch another video that also tells the algorithm that you enjoyed what you watched here, and there's actually an entire playlist for you to watch here. So I hope I see you soon for another video. Bye!